Hi everyone, welcome to the new video. So today we will discuss the remaining questions. I'll cover two or three questions today in this video, and these are the questions which I shared in my last video. That these are the scenario based question, and I have already shared the question in the description box. Meanwhile, I've also created a GitHub repo link where you can find these questions, which I will again give in the description box today. All the 10 questions, and we are discussing the answers of each. I'm trying to cover more and more question till we cover all the question, but this is the second video. In the previous video, we covered two question, and now I'm trying to cover two or three question max. So for this is like the intro for those who are new to this video and those who are already watching the video, those who have already watched the previous video. So without further ado, let's start. So scenario 3 is entire data center migration to AWS. So basically, company is owning an on-prem data center which is hosting around 400 virtual machines, and it includes Java application, Windows IIS applications, Oracle database, SQL service databases, file servers, Active Directory, Jenkins, and monitoring tool. And the business has decided to migrate completely to AWS within 6 months. So applications have different availability requirements ranging from development environments to mission critical banking application. And the company has a dedicated AWS direct connect connection to AWS. So this is already established. So as the lead DevOps engineer, explain how would you approach the migration, how would you categorize application, which AWS migration services would you use, how would you migrate compute, databases, storage, networking, DNS, and identity, and explain your migration sequence, validation process, rollback plan and post-migration activities. So I would like to, before starting this video, I would like to tell you that there are few migration services in AWS which are already available. Like there is AWS application migration service for migrating the applications like VMs, or they are already present. There is one service of AWS database migration, DMS, for migrating the databases. There we have to install an agent, and we have to, there are three steps which we have to perform, and the migration, there is some time required, so we can accordingly plan, and it's done. Similarly, there is a service to migrate the file servers for copying the files, and there is a AWS data sync service. This sets the tone that which all services which we are going to use in AWS. So how we are going to plan all this migration and everything, let's understand through flowchart. So first of all, suppose there, if we have to shift to a new house, so what we will have to do, we first have to build that another new house, right? So similarly, we are shifting to AWS, so we need to build the infrastructure first. Like we need to create a VPC, we need to create an IAM, we need to create a security, we need to establish a monitoring, so that the skeleton is already present when we start doing the shifting. Okay, so we will create all these AWS accounts. Inside the AWS account, we will create the IAM roles, VPC, subnets, internet gateway, everything in advance, right? Then as we already have AWS Direct Connect, which is establishing a connection between AWS and on-prem, so that will help in, there is already a connection established between AWS and on-prem. So now the third step will be to discover application and dependencies. Like if the Java, as we see that there are Java application also, there are IIS servers also, so we'll see that what all applications are dependent on what all services. Like if Java application are dependent on PostgreSQL, IIS servers are dependent on Oracle databases, so we need to form that dependency. Then we need to decide that, waves mean that in migration wave 1, like the first phase, We will group applications which are of development. We will group smaller application and do the deployment, or start with the dev servers first. Then first of all we will start with dev servers only in a group or in a limit, and then after completing dev servers and validating everything, we'll go with the qat and the prod servers. Okay, as I said, we can replicate VMs using AWS Migration Service, AWS MGN, replicate database using AWS DMS, copy file server, AWS Data Sync. Then we'll set up the Active Directory in AWS. We'll launch EC2 test instance. We'll validate application database, and cutover is we need to update the DNS in AWS Route 53. After monitoring and everything, we'll keep on-prem up and running if a rollback is required for some time. Okay, and then we'll decommission. So this is the basic process that we'll follow. So this is the preparation, this is the process of migration. Okay, so now our next question is that we need to do a cross cloud migration from AWS to Azure. So it's from AWS to Azure, and your company has been running production workloads in AWS for last 5 years. Due to new enterprise agreements, management wants to migrate the complete platform to Microsoft Azure over the next 12 months, and the environment includes Amazon EKS, Amazon RDS, Amazon S3, 53, CloudWatch, IAM, Jenkins, and Terraform. Now, customer facing application must remain available throughout the migration. Explain your migration strategy, map every AWS service to its Azure equivalent. Describe how you would migrate Kubernetes cluster, database, storage, DNS monitoring, secret networking, CI/CD, and infrastructure as code. What challenges would you expect and how would you mitigate them? Okay, so again the same thing. First of all, we need to understand, when we are doing the migration, we need to understand that first of all we need to assess the AWS environment, like what is actually created, like if we have how many EKS clusters we have, how many EC2 we have, how many databases we have, how much storage, how much secrets we are storing, then how accounts are created, how we are grouping it, how we are providing the access and all. So that all we need to assess. After assessing it, we need to create the infrastructure in Azure similarly, like creating an infrastructure like a Azure subscription, RGs, management groups, then subscription, then RGs. Inside the RGs, we need to decide what all resources will be created. Accordingly, we'll decide. Okay, we need to choose now in Azure, whatever in AWS, whatever it's already present. We need to choose that what are its Azure equivalents, like in Kubernetes service it is EKS in AWS, so it is AKS in Azure. Similarly, storage, Azure blob storage is there, and it is something AWS S3 in AWS. Then we have a DNS in Azure, and it is Route 53 in AWS. So like this, we need to find the equivalents. Then first start with deploying application to AKS. So it's a preferred way that we need to use AKS instead of doing it on the VMs. Then we'll start replicating the databases. We'll start, we won't stop AWS services. We'll start replicating it, start creating it on Azure. Start replicating, start copying files in Azure blob storage, migrate secrets, identities, configure monitoring and networking, test the complete Azure environment, and when the testing and everything is done, we need to redirect user by updating the DNS. So it is done in through Route 53 and DNS service. Then we need to monitor Azure in production and keep AWS available for rollback. So this is how the process should happen for any migration. Okay, so I'll make sure that I'll keep these flowcharts in that GitHub repo link, so that if you want to refer the answer and the key pointers to frame your answer, you have those points. So yeah, that's all for today's video, because the video will become huge. I don't want that, so that's why I'm keeping it short. So yeah, that's all. Bye. That's all for today's video. I hope it's helpful. Please let me know your views in the comment section. Till then, take care. Bye.